Let's take a look at Boo and Friends head then. It's a similar design for Boo and Friends. There are slight variations depending on the friend you're making, but let's have a look at the basic design. So we begin with a magic ring, which is common in amigurumi. So I'm right-handed, so I cross my right hand over to the left, making a loop. Then with the short end of the yarn, I pull that up and into that loop, and then make the knot a bit tighter, so not pull too tight because I want this freedom of movement here. So the long end here, which is attached to the ball of yarn, doesn't slide, and the short end does slide. So like it's a slip knot. It's called a magic ring, and we're going to work into the magic ring to begin. So I like to slip stitch into the magic ring first and then make a 1 chain, and then we continue with the pattern. So slip stitch into the magic ring, make a 1 chain, and then double crochet 6 into the magic ring. So that's 1. So I put my hook into the magic ring, wrap and pull through, wrap and pull through the 2. That's 2. I'm going to mark my first stitch. There. Okay, so we get the 1 chain, then 1, 2 double crochet, working into that ring still again, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochet, single crochet if you're working in US terms. Okay, so we've done our 6 into the ring, and then we slip join, so we slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, which I've marked there with my stitch marker. Slip join that together, just take that stitch marker off, and then we pull the tail end, and that draws the ring up tight. Okay, so for round 2 we 1 chain and work immediately back into that same stitch that we slipped into with 2 double crochet, and we do 2 double crochet into each of the double crochets on the previous round. Just in case you're in US terms, a reminder again, this is single crochet, double crochet in UK terms. So the entire toy is made with single crochet, just in case you're in US terms. There we go. So I've marked that first stitch there, and I've done my 2 in the first one. And then if you're struggling, if you just move the tassely bits out of the way, see, stroke them down out of the way, it makes it a little bit clearer. So we do 2 in each stitch, 1, 2, 1, 2, so that's 6 double crochet now, and we're halfway round. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you can see it says in the pattern that there should be 12 stitches. I like to count it like that because, let me show you here. So there's our first stitch of this round, and you find there's this gap here. That's right, that's correct, but we don't want to work into it, which is why I prefer to count all the way around. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, and then I know that I've got my 12 stitches, which is what it says in the pattern we end up with after the second round. Okay, and so I find that's the best way to count. So let me demonstrate on the next round. So I'll just remove my stitch marker and I'm going to work into that stitch to slip join this round. So we make a slip stitch there, like so. Okay. So each time we go round, we're slightly increasing this circle. So we do a 1 chain, and this round we're doing 1 DC, 2 into the next, 1 DC, 2 into the next. So into the first we do 1. So we're working back into that same stitch that we just slipped into. Oh, I dropped everything then. Sorry. So that's my first double crochet, and I'm going to mark it again. Okay, once you become more confident, you don't need to do this marking. If you're happy, don't need to do this marking, but if you're first time using this yarn or making an amigurumi toy, it really helps if you mark your first stitch when you're working in the round. So that was 1 into the first. Now I'm going to do 2 into the next, and I'm going to count 1 2 3 4, and then 5 6 into the next, 5 6 7, and then 8 9 into the next, 8 9, and 10, 11 12 into the next. So I don't know whether you've caught on, but we're counting in multiples of 3 here. 11 12 into the next, then 13, 14 15 into the next, 14 15, and then 16, and then it will be 17 18 into the next, and that's the end of that round. 17 18, and again you see we've got this gap, but we're not working into there. That's just a gap where we're going to join with a slip stitch into the first one here, which is why, like I say, I like to count that way. So I hope that's helpful to you. Slip join into the first, and then for the next round, 1 chain and 1 double crochet straight back into where we just slip stitched, and I'm going to mark that first stitch. Like that. Okay, and we continue round, and this time it'll be in 4s, and so it continues in the pattern. So that's 1 2, then the next one will be 3 4, so it's 2 stitches into the same, 3 4 5 6, and then the next one's 7 8, 2 stitches into the same one, 7 8, and so on. And so we continue round, follow the pattern, making the circle bigger and bigger, and I recommend counting in that manner. I hope that helps, and I recommend putting the stitch marker on because you can see how easily that disappears, and it just helps you find your way really in all amigurumi, with or without the fluffy tufty yarn. I find that's the most helpful way to count. I hope that helps you. So continue on, follow the pattern until I'll meet you back when we start to decrease. Show you some tips and tricks for that. Bye, happy crocheting.